Alrighty, welcome to another episode of the live design streaming sessions right here on Do Better UX official YouTube channel. My name is Farama Henry. If you haven't heard of me before, I am UX designer, product designer based in South Africa, Johannesburg. And today I wanted to, let's start off. Happy New Year. Let's start off properly on this one. Happy New Year. And if you've crossed over to 2021, thank God we've left all that terrible misery and the things that we found in 2020. I hope that you're keeping safe and you are doing well. You're in perfect health. Anyway, let's jump right into today's session. Today's session is about the state of UX 2021. We want to be talking about this publication that goes out almost on every year now since 2016. Usually talking about UX design trends that we should be expecting over the next year, etc., etc. But this year is quite a bit different because the guys over at trends.uxdesign.cc decided to come up with a different format this year, obviously because we've had such a special year. We have 100 lessons learned, 100 lessons for the year to come, rather than having UX design trends. And most of these lessons are lessons that we mainly learned in 2020, around working remotely. And we are in a pandemic, and if you still have a job, if you're still out there, if you're still doing your UX design work, or if you want to get into UX design and you still have opportunities out there, that is very good news. There are a lot of people that have lost their source of income, have lost means and ways to provide for their families, etc., or just make a living at all. You'll see me moving my head a little bit around as we go throughout the video. That way we'll be able to see what is actually on the screen as we read through it. Before we jump right into it, I want to tell you a little bit about Do Better UX and what we're trying to do here. DoBetterUX.com is an online platform where we give you the no BS approach to learning UX design. We talk about all things UX design, product design, how to take your career, how to jumpstart your career if you're starting to get into UX design, and how to take your career to the next level if you're already a UX designer and you want to learn more around how can you expand your UX career and take your UX career to the next level. So that is what we cover on DoBetterUX.com. If you're interested in our podcast or blog posts, we do a weekly podcast. We do live sessions. This one is a little bit of an ad hoc one. We do weekly live sessions where we actually cover UX design topics. This January we'll be talking about the basics of getting started in UX design, and with a topic that we'll be covering on Thursday. So please make sure to check that out. Let me jump right into it then. So I haven't went through this. I tried to do a stream yesterday and everything crashed and burned, so I actually didn't go through the whole list, and I hope that I can go through the list in the next hour or so. But anyway, so this is the state of UX in 2021, 100 lessons for the year to come. They start off here with a little bit of a note. Things are not okay. We're in the middle of a global pandemic that has taken lives of more than 1 million people, which is something that is not unprecedented, but we've seen pandemics in life, but probably with the most people that are alive today, with the millennials and whoever, this is probably the first pandemic that has really hit us hard, that we didn't know how to respond to, or rather that has taken a big toll on us. So things are not okay. So they decided not to go with the trends here, not trends but lessons on how to make an impact beyond our products. on how to collaborate beyond Zoom calls, how to organize ourselves beyond our bubbles, and how to improve our craft beyond artboards. Lessons from voices we still don't hear as often in the design mainstream, but we should. Lessons that can help us all dive into 2021 a little bit more prepared. So yeah, going into 2020, a lot of people had no idea what is happening with the Zoom situation, having to deal with live calls, etc., etc. It was a little bit of a learning curve for a lot of people, actually. Let me just tone down the music, see if I can play something a little bit more calm. That's better. We got into 2020 without not knowing what was going to happen, and a lot of people were forced to work from home. Companies were forced to adapt to that, and sort of like bring their workforce together and start training people how to interact and work from home, etc., etc. So yeah, I hope that some of the lessons in here can really prepare us for the year to come, which is 2021. So act more than talk, listen more than act, right? Act more than talk, listen more than act. I'm not sure about the listen more than act part, but definitely act more than talk, do more than you speak, obviously. Listen more than you act. I would say, listen more before you act, something like that. So I'm going to try and interpret this as I can as we go through this in the best way I can possible. But some of them, if I don't know what they mean, I don't know what they mean. There are links on some of them as well. I noticed that yesterday when I was trying to do the live stream that crashed and burned. So there are links in here, but I'm not going to go into the links. I'm really going to try and go through this. We're only on number 1 now, and we are 10 minutes into the stream, probably about 8 minutes into the stream. So let's get on with it and see if we can go through the whole 100 lessons. So the design community must not stay silent. That is a big one. I think we have a huge impact on the products that we build and how we can literally change the world through design. It is time we stop using like and don't like in our design. Oh, okay. So that speaks to this is what I like, this is what I don't like, etc., etc. I always say that this is a recipe for disaster, because whenever you hear these words, we can't use I like this, I don't like that in design reviews. We need to be more factual. We need to talk with understanding around how does that actually affect the design that we're doing. Knowing how to articulate the thinking behind our decision is as important as knowing to design. Exactly. So don't just say you don't like things or like them. It's not a personal perspective opinionated thing, especially when you're in design reviews. Stop using some other words altogether. Some other words, not sure what that one means. LinkedIn is becoming uninhabitable. Remove the features you don't need. I like LinkedIn. I think there are a lot of features that are happening there, but I think it's still habitable. Friction in design is not always a bad thing. Yep, I agree. And I think here's an example here. Friction in some cases should actually be a requirement. Wow, okay, cool. Well, I guess this is I actually like this when the US election was happening and Trump lost. And there was all this craziness when it comes to the tweets that he was sending out, and Twitter actually had a very quick response when it came to their design and implementing certain things so that they could stop the spread of fake news and sort of like curate the content that was coming, especially from like very influential leaders around the world. This was something that I thought that they did pretty speedy and was really cool. So thumbs up, Twitter. Thank you for giving us a good example of when to include friction in design. On December 31st, delete your backlog. Whatever you need to focus on next won't be there. I still have a backlog. I can't really show you, but I have one on my wall here. And I still have shit that I need to finish. I'm not sure what this one is about. I actually tweeted this one when I saw it as I was going through this list. You're muted. One of the most popular phrases in 2020, I think going into 2021 as well. You're mute. Are you saying something? You're muted. Hey dude, are you saying something? You should be muted. Yeah, who knew? And it might be intentional. In 2020, we've seen tech workers fired for organizing unions, designers laid off for reaching out to workers on the ground, and employees silenced at multiple levels by company leadership. Now that we are no longer meeting in offices as a team, it has become even more important to create new spaces to connect with our co-workers and make sure our voices are heard. I don't know how to articulate that because I have not been sort of like an official employee over the year of 2020. I made a conscious decision of, sort of like going into this gig culture type of economy and but I think this is valuable since people can't have those conversations around the water cooler, etc. I think it's really valuable for people to create communities online where they can still engage as employees, to be able to still sort of like have a voice without the employer in the situation imposing certain things, etc. Empathy is not enough. Many people assume that empathy is an inherent skill of all designers. No, and therefore easy. Not. This methodology is deeply problematic and detrimental to human-centered practice. I wouldn't say it's detrimental to human-centered practice, but I would definitely say that it's not easy, and not all designers have it inherently. I think that's why there are, design thinking methods, things like the design sprint, some empathy mapping methods within design thinking that can help designers not inherently have empathy as a skill, but still be able to apply some level of empathy within their processes and the designs that at the solutions that they're designing for. Let me just move my head over here. Compassionate action is better than empathy. Okay, I guess it's a continuation of that. Let's see what they say here. So empathy is a feeling. Empathy is feeling what someone else is feeling. It is attempted to crawl into their minds and hearts and experience what they're experiencing. This is impossible. We cannot feel what it is to be like anyone but ourselves. Compassion, unlike empathy, allows us to remain rational. It's what allows us to act. When someone gets injured in front of us, compassion allows us to act. Okay, so still on the empathy thing. I don't know, compassion, empathy, however you approach it. I think, like I said in the previous point here, there are methods and ways and things that you can actually implement in design thinking methodologies, etc., that can actually help you deal with empathy exercises. Not being racist is not enough. Wow. Okay. There's a moment where everybody must make a choice. What are you willing to do differently to root out white supremacy, the technology sector? Are you going to continue to uphold the status quo, or are you going to move fast and break up the old ways of doing things? That's an interesting one. I don't know how to react to that one. But yeah, you can't just say you're not racist. It's about what are you doing about it, right? I guess that's what this is trying to speak to. Now, GPT-3. So GPT-3 is a very interesting AI. If you don't know about it, you can check out our channel. We did a whole live streaming session covering GPT-3 just when it came out, and some of the crazy things that it can do. It's basically an AI that can auto-generate designs and things like that. So you can tell it, you can give it an example of a Google web search thing, and it actually builds the search engine for you. It's a powerful AI that has got billions and billions of parameters, and it's super crazy. I actually wanted to have a chat with Jordan Singer. I did connect with him, but he was super busy at this time when GPT-3 came out. He was the one on Twitter who was giving most of the examples that we saw in the early days of knowing what GPT-3 was. He was the person who uploaded most of the examples of sort of like writing a paragraph describing what he wants, and the thing actually designs it. So it was a very scary thing for a lot of designers when it came out. It's like, okay, cool, so you can just describe something and the AI can write it. So let's see what this point says here. GPT-3 can be a friend. GPT-3 gave designers a scare, definitely. For a split second this year, well, not for a split second, for about a week and a bit, right? I think designers were pretty scared of what this could do. We thought we had been replaced by a Figma plugin. Yep, we could be replaced by a Figma plugin, one that utilized AI to auto-generate screens based on a text layer entry from a user. We quickly realized that the threat wasn't the AI itself, but the tendency as designers to focus on repetitive parts of the process. This changes everything. GPT-3, I built Figma plugin for you, blah blah blah. So I guess this is speaking to changing the perspective of what us as designers, our role in developing solutions and actually designing stuff. I think this allows us to spend more time in solution mode without having to invest a lot of time in doing the actual pixel pushing thing. So I guess this is what it means, that it can be a friend and it can actually helps you design while you actually do more human intensive type of work, like actually doing the problem solving, figuring out what you should tell GPT-3 to design for you. So I think I'm actually doing a talk over at a design conference here in South Africa later on this month, talking about the future of UX designers and what we should be thinking about in the year to come. I think that will be a topic that will be really cool to cover during the course of February, following the basics, getting started in UX design. I think it'll be a good thing to really talk about all these technologies that actually impact the way that we design and develop the solutions that we come up with as designers. So having said that, I think it's important for us to understand that there are a lot of things that are happening out there that we cannot keep on using the static ways of designing and coming up with solutions as we have. We need to be able to optimize ourselves and be able to do things a little bit quicker, and use AI and all these technologies to our advantage, and not necessarily be feel like they're a threat to our existence or the work that we do. Our job description is changing, and that's okay. Oh, UX designer job description, that's a crazy one, because I hardly ever know what the job description is. As more UI patterns become standardized, we need to change our focus. The role of designers is changing. There's no doubt it will become more about the ability to define the problem to solve, and how should they solve it, consider the broad implications on society, people, and the environment, and learn how to control machines with their words. I guess that's continuing from the GPT-3 conversation up there, controlling machines with our words. I think, for most designers, this has changed, like I feel that UI design patterns are very standard. Like if you're in an iOS environment, if you're in web environment, if you're in an Android environment, if you're on a tablet type of form environment, there's certain basic things that you follow, and people are not really doing anything new per se. Not saying that people shouldn't do anything new and innovative. We definitely should focus on doing new and innovative things, but what this point is talking to is very important, because it's actually speaking to us being able to do the problem solving, just like what I was saying with GPT-3. It's important for UX designers to learn how to actually solve problems, do things like facilitate design sprints, run design thinking workshops that actually help you solve the problem, and give you some level of what can I say, interaction with stakeholders and the people that you're designing for, and you can feed all that into the machine, and the machine will build it out for you. I think that's where the world is going, and I think it's a very important thing. I think these are very two important points to highlight. I think I'm actually gonna note this for my talk, and add them as two extra examples that other people are thinking on the same lines as I am doing about the future of UX. Algorithms are far from being neutral. Algorithms are never neutral. They're very far from being neutral. In the US, a widely used healthcare algorithm falsely concludes that black patients are healthier than equally sick white patients. AI is used. The problem with algorithms is that we feed them. The human beings feed them. It's not like they learn. So if you feed racism to an algorithm, the algorithm is going to be racist. If you feed whatever to an algorithm, the algorithm is just going to follow that. It might improve on that. It might improve on on the racism factor. Algorithms are not just machines. Image classification, text transcription, context moderation. Behind every algorithm, there's a massive workforce that is usually out of sight. True. And regulations. When a low-cost, politically fractured labor is contracted to infrastructure projects such as training systems, they rely on machine learning, AI, all of the political. Okay, so this report is getting very political, and I don't like playing in the political space. I don't like playing in the sexuality space. They're just sensitive areas that I don't want to discuss on this channel. I want to keep this channel very neutral, very design focused, talking about things that matter to you and helping you take your UX design career to the next level. So maybe I'll skip some of the stuff that has got too much detail around politics and things like that. Yeah, on that note, we should stop saying the algorithm and start saying the people, the way people programmed the app. Yeah, because it is people programming. This was programmed by someone. What the hell is this? Rochelle, Acacia, Sahira. A collage of dozens of black names marked as misspelled by Microsoft Words, built in spell checker 2016. Okay, so this is a spell checker not identifying any black people's word names. Anyway, the make the button bigger problem is not exclusive to small companies. Zoom use me, Google no use me. I guess there was a picture here. Pablo Stanley. I only clicked it because it's okay, I see. Pablo is a very cool guy. I think he's one of the people that made me fall in love with UX as a whole, and just getting into things. That is why I didn't want to click on any links, because now I opened that and it went to that page, and now I have to come back and look for this, etc. Anyway, obvious trumps clever. Okay. Design is about prioritization, saying no and taking out what's non-essential. Creating technology that's user-friendly and clear is more important than flexing one design smart. Yeah, I agree with that. I think people try and complicate technology that could be simplified. Really, I think this is more of a simplification thing than anything else. Design is greater than the sum of its layers. Full up designers are now shared on the Figma community. Research templates are shared on Notion, front-end code on CodePen, and illustrations are easily accessible, and things like plugin like Blush. I feel like there's a lot of Pablo Stanley happening here. The trend of sharing and remixing reveals that the secret to better design lies in the wisdom of collective rather than the genius of individual. You are definitely seeing more and more templates, community-based design. I think this speaks to community-based design and people not being afraid to not be super unique anymore. People are happy to use templates and customize them, and have people I think this also another thing that sort of like standardizes a certain style or way of doing things, whether we're designing for mobile or we're designing for web. It's because we are reusing all these assets that people have accumulated over time, and that is what actually I think creates this UX design trends that we usually follow on a year-to-year basis. Around like 1 year to be gradients and drop shadows and things like that. The next year to be something else. There was an era where we went all flat and coming from the skeuomorphic age, and I think it's just that community sharing and building that actually standardizes those UX design patterns that we see. Data visualization can tell powerful stories. From the insightful response of the pudding, the activism of initiatives like anti-eviction mapping project and the art pieces created by Mona. I guess those are links. I don't know any of these things. Data visualization create narratives to help better understand the world around us. I guess yes. What? I guess this is the opposite of data visualization, right? New York Times front page highlighting 100,000 deaths in the US. By December, the number passes 250,000 mark. Wow. Okay. So, all these names of dead people and their addresses? What's happening here? What? Are you actually allowed to do that? Anyway, that's New York Times. Bad data representation there. Data needs literacy to combat conspiracy theories. Okay, we've been insights. Anyway, when we have events at the scale of a global pandemic, data is at the center of conversations. Designers have a responsibility to explain how to read the data they're representing. One data point or data alone can't be the only tool used to measure an issue. Okay, so a number of cases without protective measures, with protective measures, healthcare system capacity. Okay, so is that the flatten the curve visualization, lower peak graph, simulate scenario with protective measures that don't overlap the whole healthcare system capacity compared to high risk scenario. Okay, cool. So if you don't have protective measures, you'll overload the healthcare system. Simple maths. Trump. Data is not only about measuring the past. Data visualization can be a tool for prediction. Definitely, we do this in SEO all the time, and intervention of the future. Definitely, we do this all the time in SEO. We look at the data, figure out what we need to optimize, so that we can assume where things can go. So yeah, I guess maybe in real life, in certain situations, things don't happen that way, but definitely I think in some areas we already do that. The much discussed flatten the curve graphic, which circulated in the early stages of the pandemic, is a great example of how visualization can communicate the risks of infection. Data simulation can help us confront large-scale complex issues like the economy, health, climate change by modeling the likely outcomes of various courses of action. Yeah, definitely. The gender of the user should not matter. This one is simple and straightforward. I don't know why people want to know what your gender is. Does that change the way you scroll on an app? Does that change data to say that we've got 53 males, in South Africa, of which is totally wrong, right? I don't know when was the last time I populated, those fields accurately. I usually say male, female, other, and not explain what I am. I think it's just totally irrelevant, right? Brainstorming is an illusion. Group thinking, sometimes disguised as a workshop or design thinking, is a powerful tool for bringing stakeholders into the design process, but on its own, it won't lead to products with a strong point of view. Don't overcomplicate your process by turning everything into a committee discussion. Sometimes you just need to design it. I think brainstorming, things like workshopping and design thinking, things like the design sprint definitely help well, not have a community discussion, but rather align all the stakeholders and everybody together before you actually jump into designing the thing. I think it actually helps you cancel out most of the conversations that usually come after you've designed something as to why you chose certain why you made certain design decisions, and why you chose to do certain things within that design. Whereas if you were aligned from the get-go, stakeholders already know what is happening there and what you're trying to achieve with the design. So it's just you bringing in your flair of creativity, or your genius in problem solving, and really building a much more solid interface around it, or a much more solid solution. Definitely not for problem solving, but for team alignment. I think workshops, design thinking, things like design sprints work best. Not every project needs to follow the same process. Yep. Not You can't do design sprints with everything. You can't use design thinking for everything. Our goal as designers should be to seek clarity, not to impose a path to achieve it. Yeah, definitely. I think there are many ways. We as designers, we've got a lot of tools within our toolbox that we can use. I don't think you necessarily need to impose a certain process or a way of doing things from one person. I think it should be a flexible thing for you to be able to do, and be able to pick different things that work for you, and not necessarily impose all these things to achieve that certain thing. However, I think there are some processes that work really well, and if you just follow them step by step, like the design sprint, you can get from idea to product in a much faster scenario. But again, it doesn't work for every situation, or for every scenario with every stakeholder that you might find in the world. So yeah, it could be something that I like that. That Zoom call could have been an email. Designers have been experiencing Zoom fatigue and calendar bloating, leave them less time and energy to work. So I think in the Zoom world, things have there has been a lot of fatigue, definitely. But I think not having the accessibility of just walking to somebody's desk and say, yo, hello, what is happening, etc., etc. I think the digital world, with a little bit of adapting, people find it hard to solve certain things or talk about certain things in certain platforms like Slack or email or whatever it is, sort of like text platforms. I think some Zoom calls should be emails. You could just make decisions quickly, but if you need to go back and forth and figure out a couple of things, I think it's better just to jump on a quick call and sort things out and move on. So something about tech, people leaving SF and moving to Utah, San Francisco and moving to Utah. Again, have no idea what that means. Game engineers are eating the world. Crazy. Gamification is running the world, is ruining the world. Your product doesn't need more engagement. There are smarter ways of generating value for your company and for your users. I think the whole concept of gamification was a little bit over implemented and overemphasized over the past couple of, I'll say 5 or 6 years. Coming from an e-learning environment, I think this is something that I've seen happen quite a bit as well. Everything has been gamified, and a lot of products actually suck because of this. Okay, cool. Keep going. You are 1/3 way through the list. Let's look at some exceptional work we featured in our newsletter this year. Cool. So we're only a third in. We're about 40 minutes into the stream. I think this is gonna be one of the longest streams that I've done. But I'm enjoying myself going through this list and talking through it and just digesting it, giving you my first impressions and reactions to it. So yeah, I guess now we are checking out some artwork. Yeah. I like this one. It's gender neutral. This one is really cool. The truth is paywalled, but the lies are for free. Someone in your family forwards you a conspiracy theory message. The content is clearly misleading but presented in such a compelling way that it's hard to ignore. You do some research and reply, and an article from a reliable source which refutes the theory. It's a long, well-argued, in-depth piece, and it's behind a paywall. Why would you keep general news articles behind a paywall? I understand things like Medium, where you get insights and things like that, but I guess if you're like a news platform like Fox or BBC or whatever, why would you put your facts behind a paywall? I don't know how news companies make money these days, but why would you put general news behind a paywall? Accessibility is not a step in your project. Accessibility is a mindset. It should be embedded in everything you do. Definitely, it's not a step. It's not like we've built this thing, let's UX it, let's add some accessibility. No. I think accessibility is a big part of user experience, and it's a big part of designing great, impactful products. Accessibility is big in business. Companies are finally starting to prioritize the task of making their services accessible to everyone. This means accessibility consultancy becoming big business. Ask the right questions before hiring accessibility experts. Designers should know the proper way to write an image art description. Yeah, I've seen a lot of terrible image art descriptions, and this speaks to accessibility as well. Your art descriptions are actually what people who are using, blind people who are using software to browse the internet actually reads out to them and describes what is happening within the image itself. So write better art descriptions for your images. Don't just say image or poster image or UX design process image or whatever it is, be a little bit more descriptive. Hint, it's not just about describing the image. Okay, read this then. I'm not gonna open any more links. Open one and sort of like put me off. Time is a design object. The Western culture, we visualize time as linear and progressive, but it's not the only way time can be represented. Okay, that would be a very interesting one to look at. I guess there's some scientific things there. Time is a design object. I really want to dig more into that. But anyway, if you want to check out, this and go through it with me, sort of like watch this and go through the list, the link to this will be in the show description, so you can check that out and click all these links and follow along, and let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about some of these things that actually have links and are being explained in certain ways, or if I'm right, or if you agree or disagree with some of the things that I'm saying around some of these lessons that we are seeing here. A portfolio is about your craft, not your project. Yes, please, a portfolio is not about the end result. It's about telling us how you do what you do. Portfolios are, focus your portfolio on showing your craft, your polish, and how much you care about your work. When you get an interview, you have plenty of time to walk through them, your case studies from top to bottom. Definitely, your portfolio is about showing your craft. It's about, it's not about the projects that are in there. It's about you. It's about how can you solve ideas. It's about, the journey actually being there. I'm going to put this head up here because I'm tired of moving it now. I hope it doesn't affect things that much. Virus containment looks early like modern luxury aesthetics. Terrorism, war, hurricanes, and earthquakes create excessive ultra visual chaos. Fireballs, rubble, water, wounds. The virus, meanwhile, cannot be seen. Dead bodies. And the crisis it's created it's a horrifying way tethered to the world. Just each added tally in the death count represents a subtraction from the human whole. I'm not sure about that one. I tried to read it and articulate it, but I'm not sure where it's going. Information structures have a critical influence on the effectiveness of digital products over time. Yeah, definitely. I think how you structure information according to how people read and consume stuff is important, and it makes products better. Baba is you. What's this now? Should I play this? Let's see. Let me play this. Let's find out what's happening. Baba is you. I have no idea what's happening in there. There is perception that we can't change the rules of the game. We have more power than we think. Definitely, I think we can change a lot of things. Game UX highlight Baba is you. Whoa, this is some crazy stuff. The world doesn't need your brand manifesto. The world doesn't need that. The world care that the company provides to those who are a part of it. Now is the time for real experience design in an officeless world. The companies and experience designers who use creativity, people to speak in places that they could have never been able to speak at before, because these big event venues and things like that, they want to drive really special speakers, people who are well known. So there is a good and bad side to it. I think there's something that we can do with software around how we can interact within conferences that we attend online. But other than that, I think it actually offers a good opportunity to a lot more people to be able to host conferences and also speak at conferences as well. Something weird is happening with my stream here. Just trying to check what's up. Okay, so still live. Just a little bit of weirdness happening, but let us proceed. Okay, cool. So moving on swiftly. Talking about conferences and stuff, yeah, I think there's definitely a huge opportunity for other people to be able to be part of conferences and come up with their own conferences, actually speak about things that they really want to speak without the expense of the crazy events and things like that. Also, never speak for free at a conference organized by for-profit companies. Cool. So charge your full price. So there's something that happens to a lot of people who are getting into speaking. They don't charge their full prices. They speak for free at conferences that are organized by profitable companies. Is your product worth its waste? The energy used to transfer data over the wire, keep data centers, networks operating, and power users device or generates pollution. 475 grams of CO2 per kilowatt, to be more precise. Digital designers, we don't often think of the waste generated by our products, but even good web performance can map to lower energy usage. Start a conversation with your team on how to make a product greener. How do we make digital products greener? Wow, that's something new to me. I never thought about it. I never thought 475 grams of CO2 are generated per kilowatt of energy, or I guess it depends with the energy where you're getting your energy, right? Okay, number 49. We're almost halfway through, ladies and gentlemen. I think after this one I'm gonna go a little bit faster so that we don't have a 2-hour long session. I see we're almost on the 1 hour mark right now. So yeah, also I don't want my camera to die before I finish everything. So yeah, wear a mask. Now a $70 billion industry. Facial coverings are here to stay. In addition, wow, $70+ billion industry that didn't really exist at the beginning of this year, right? In addition to saving lives, masks can become a political and cultural statement only in the US, signifying one's belief in science and a concern for others' well-being. I've been seeing this crazy thing where people are fighting with the vaccine, saying that leaders should take the vaccine first, etc., etc. Wash your hands, remember to breathe. Design is political. Design can be political. Find the truth, tell the truth. I guess that speaks to, I don't know how that applies to design. Being a designer is still a privilege. Is it? If you have the benefit from a position of privilege, sometimes the goal is not to always step up, but to step back. An opportunity is to take ownership of a design project, to accept a new leadership role, or hire an incoming designer whose voices are you uplifting. Consider your position, your positionality in the spaces you occupy. Interesting statement. I have no idea where it's going. Understand your privilege is the first step towards a more inclusive industry. What do we owe each other? Design can be fun when we remove the gatekeepers. Yes, shoot the gatekeepers. It's time we look at diversity beyond conventional metrics. Diversity needs to be at the core of company values, not just a hiring metric. Definitely is just a hiring metric right now. A lot of companies are trying to have more black people, more female people, more people with disabilities, etc., etc. Diversity goes beyond ethnicity, gender, and includes diversity of lived experiences, ability, and generations, age as well, and things like that. Our industry needs a different type of designer. I think it depends how you define a designer. I think our role has been ever changing and is still changing, and continuing in the world that we're living in. It will always be evolving. So I think our industry needs more of an evolving designer, more than sort of like a different type of designer altogether. I think we need to be able to adapt and be able to evolve over time, to be able to stay up to date and provide our clients with the best stuff. Hire juniors. Guess what? Hiring a senior designer won't solve your problem. No. What's a senior designer anyways? Is somebody just has a lot of experience. The problems that have been pulling up within your product. On the contrary, hiring a junior designers can be a great strategy for evaluating your design team. In 2021, we'll need the fresh ideas, energy, and possibilities that only junior designers, regardless of age or background, can bring to the team. I feel a bit old. I feel aged with that one. I don't know. I don't call myself a senior UX designer. I don't call myself a senior designer. I'm not a senior citizen by any fit. But yeah, I think I kind of get what they're saying here. The more you focus on optimizations, the more you lose control over the bigger picture. Yeah, optimizations is the smaller things, whereas the bigger picture is actually, a little bit more strategic. Design research is only as good as the action it enables. You can have a lot of research without any action, it goes to waste. We need to rethink our 2021 reading list. Okay, why? You can be interested in project management and be a designer. I don't know if those two correlate. I hoped it was gonna, move on. Continue from there. And it's okay to be a designer and be smart about product strategy or copy or coding. You don't need to change your career just because you're skilled in other things. You don't unlearn design when you learn other things. Accumulating skill sets will only make you a better designer. Definitely. So let me spend maybe a minute or so on this one, because I think it's really important. I think a lot of designers think that, UX design is all about building interfaces and things like that. But as we were talking, going through this state of UX and the lessons here, I did mention that, we need more evolving designers. We need more people to think about actually, problem solving and actually coming up with, solutions for the things that we're designing for. So things like copy coding and for me personally, product strategy and product management and sort of like looking after the product has been a huge benefit for me as a designer, because I'm almost able to run a project and as well as design within the project. So being sort of like the main person ruddering the team around and being able to actually manage the product after that. So I think it's very useful skills, and I think that is what is going to be defining some sort of like separating some of the best designers from the really good ones. It's those extra skill sets that you might be having on top of you just being able to move pixels. Design, dear design tool, don't forget the designer. It's a cycle. Designers fall in love with a particular design tool because it solves a specific need they have. Eager to scale fast, the company shifts their focus from product to marketing, investing in ebooks, events, high-end video content, and swag. The product evolves to focus on the CTO rather than the designer. At some point, they become such a corporate behemoth that designers lose interest. Then a new, more focused tool emerges and wins the designer's heart. This sounds like the story of Sketch and Figma. If you're a designer and you've used Sketch or Figma and you're not using Figma now, you're still in the Sketch world, something is happening there. Getting a seat at the table doesn't mean that you need to abandon your desk. Senior individual contributors, ICS, are expected to become leaders. Leaders are expected to become managers. But designing and managing are two very different jobs. Yes, dealing with people and designing are two very different jobs. And it's up to you to figure out how you balance them and how you work out what you actually want to do. But again, I think having that extra skill set doesn't really hurt, and you being able to add a little bit more value than just UI design really helps as well. So you can still be a designer and still have sort of like different responsibilities. I think we actually need more designers who have multiple responsibilities. That way we can influence stakeholders easier, not just coming from a design perspective, but from being a manager or whoever in a more senior position. Don't measure your design system by its number of components. It's about how good it is and how the components work. If a design system team is only focused on process and components, chances are they are serving an internal metric rather than the end users. Yeah, definitely. If you ever see designers just focusing on the process and building components, there's definitely an internal metric that they're trying to beat. And not necessarily any improvement on the user experience. Processes can't compensate for lack of design vision. I'm not sure, because I feel like some processes really help you work towards the vision that you want to and be able to stick and share that. I'm talking about the design sprint specifically here. I think it's a very clear-cut process that can help you build a design vision and a strategy, and not only just a way to solve what you are trying to solve. Learn the incentives at play. It might feel like your colleagues don't value your designs. Oh well, they likely don't. Not because you're not a good designer, but because their job incentives is not good design. If you want to make impact at work, you have first to understand the priorities of your colleagues and the frame of your work around their needs, and frame your work around their needs. The best design conversations won't be televised. That sounds good. When a designer shares their career trajectory, publicity, it's been curated. When they speak about what it's like to work at Google, their story has been vetted by Google PR team. When they post something on LinkedIn, they focus on what will make them look good. When there's an audience, there's a fantasy and an agenda. While designers are becoming more comfortable talking publicly about their failures, the most honest design conversations are still happening when the camera recording is off. Definitely. So yeah, I think you know, there are people like myself and other designers who, you know, are getting more and more comfortable of talking around different design things, and you know how, you know, their failures and successes, of course. But yeah, I think it's a point there that most of the stuff that you actually see out there is, you know, polished to make the designer look good, and not necessarily, you know, just the pure truth. Pneumorphorism was the most road UI trend of 2020. Heads down. Which of these will be next? Not sure. The design blog is becoming personal again. Definitely. I think I like that about, you know, a lot of blogs that are coming out. It used to be very, you know, business like, you know, people trying to sell gigs and, you know, show how impactful they are. Platforms like Medium, Substack, and other niche design publishing sites are winning in popularity, while the personal blog is making a comeback. One network publishing platforms are great for scale. Design writers want their stories look and feel more personal. Definitely, I see that Medium has launched new features to make profiles feel more personal, and blogs they're seeing growth again, but platforms like WordPress are definitely on the rise. I agree with that. I think we're seeing a lot of designers who are coming up with a lot more personal sort of like approach in their conversation and in their topics that they're having. Like, you know, talking about the previous point, this one around, you know, sort of like designing conversations. I think, you know, that is changing around that. Shop local is time you ask tough questions about the brands you support, research their tax affairs, treatment of staff, negative impacts on local retailers, blah blah blah. Yep, shop local. Local is lekker. Shop local software. Okay, what is the equivalent of buying local in digital space? Buying local software. Someone designed this, someone wrote a brief about this, someone designed this, someone programmed this, someone QA'd this, someone decided to launch this, and it worked. What is it? Yes, on 22. If Prop 22 fails to pass, your price per ride could increase by I'm not sure what that is. Design is business, the business of design. Our job isn't to make people's lives better. I think it is. Our job is to prove to stakeholders with our work that caring for customers actually leads to better business. True as well. So I think caring for customers, making their lives better, proving to stakeholders that that is what we're doing and it's actually good for business. I think everything as a whole is important in this statement. Design a chair in context of the room, a business in context of its community. Definitely. I think a lot of businesses and products out there are not designed within the context of the community that they're trying to build it for, and the actual users that are there. It's okay to slow down. This is your time. No one else has had time like this before. You can come out of it older and wiser, or you can simply come out of it. Both are enough. You are enough. What matters most is you and what you need right now, today. That's cool. I think that's a powerful statement. I actually like that. I think there's this unhealthy hustle culture thing that is happening in the world that we live in today, and I think that's a good quote there. I like that. I like that a lot. Normalize talking about mental health. Now that work environment and personal spaces are blending, it's even more important to remember to focus on aspects of our lives beyond work. Definitely. The so-called social dilemma doesn't have to be a career dilemma. A former tech employee in a documentary about why social media is bad. The social dilemma. This is a super cool documentary. Now, if you haven't watched this on Netflix, you definitely should. I think there is there's a really there's a lot to be learned here. There's a lot to be learned in this, and how people literally design products to be evil and control people. We need to find ways to talk about tech issues in accessible terms. The social dilemma documentary is problematic. I don't think so. I think it speaks the truth. It erases voices that have been studying the impact of social networks for a long time, and creates a false narrative on how we got here and how much agency we have. But it did bring the topic of the mainstream in a way none of us had. Creators have already given us examples of how we can talk about complex topics in a more accessible way, and when we can give the right people the tools to tell the story. If the silver lining is that issues with social networks got some attention, the least we can do is to take this opportunity to expand the discussion further. Okay, I'm not sure what that is about, but I know that the social dilemma is a freaking cool Netflix documentary to check out. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out right now. Well, not right now, finish the stream first, and then you can go check it out after this. The old metrics don't work anymore. Designed for peace of mind, not for engagement. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, definitely designed to solve a problem, not just for engagement, right? Designed to actually solve a problem for people, out there. Writing about design is a great way to learn, no matter how senior you are. I've covered this a bit in one of the podcasts that I've done around, the question that, do UX designers actually need a portfolio in 2020? And my take on that is that, writing a blog, coming up with a podcast, or doing things like this, is now accessible to almost everyone, especially writing a blog. It's free. all you need to do is write, but maybe you're not a writer or whatever it is, or you're not comfortable on the camera, but you can definitely start a podcast or something else. That way you learn more around your experiences and sharing them with others, but also you're documenting your experience and the level that you are at. That way you are able to actually use that as social proof around the work that you do, and not just have a portfolio that speaks to one specific thing, and your projects and your case studies, etc. If you have a blog or something like that, people can actually sort of like go through and see your growth, how you've been interacting with the world, some of the things and your thinking. So I think it definitely is a great way to learn. So take more content out before you write your next great article. Mine are never great. Research what's already been written on the topic. Definitely do your homework. How gets you the claps? Why gets you the impact? After 12,000 plus article submissions received this year, how-to articles are still the most popular, but the ones that go in deeper into why get the best. Definitely. The how-to is just doing this. It's a process that has been done before. Would you like to know how to do it? And then we'll teach you how to do it. But the why is actually, why are we doing this? Drives a little bit more conversation and value, I guess, for the people who are engaging with your product. We are on number 85. I am getting a little bit tired now. I haven't done a stream this long. We are hitting almost the 1 hour 30 minutes mark. But I'm pretty happy that everything has been going really well, and I haven't had major glitches, etc. I tried to do this live stream yesterday, and it was a total disaster. I streamed it on the wrong channel, and I came back, and it was just a crazy day for streaming. Which career paths are you on? Journalist, specialist, or influencer? Gotta make those YouTube thumbnails pixel perfect. I don't know. Which career path am I on? I think I'm definitely on the specialist and influencer path. My camera is starting to flush the power signal, so I want to go pretty quickly in this ones and close off the stream so that I don't have to stop. Okay, cool. Get a job in UX promises are a scam. No bootcamp formulas can guarantee what companies will be looking for. I think you can actually direct people into getting into UX, and they can find some meaningful ways that I don't think they're all a scam. I think most of them are, but I think you can definitely teach people how to get a career in UX design. What you say is not as important as the bookcase behind you. That's definitely a Zoom thing. I don't have a bookcase, but I got some books behind me and some things. Vision is iterative work. Definitely. I'm here, I'm seen, show up, be there, do it. 90% of the internet users are not in the US. Definitely. And it's a funny thing how a lot of products are oriented to the US and people are trying to sell to the US market, whereas there is a lot more of the world that actually needs your products and services that you can design for. More communication equals better communication. We can't compensate for the lack of face-to-face interaction in our course by adding more communication channels and scheduling more meetings. Think quality over quantity. Definitely doesn't necessarily mean better communication, but I think more communication definitely means better communication in the context of keeping the pulse on a project and keeping things going. The more collaborative your team is, the more you need to organize your design files. Definitely have a design system, have design files somewhere in a Dropbox folder, whatever it is, but building a design system around it in something like Figma or something is the best way to organize your design files. You can't simply how might we every problem you see. While design thinking, design sprints, and other popular frameworks have allowed our field reach new audiences, these tools have also created self-serving perception that we don't need how might we every problem we see stop the increasingly complex problems we face. Designers, citizens require a more thoughtful approach. But I guess the how might we is a powerful thing. Used alone, not so powerful. Used within a process like design sprints, design thinking workshops, definitely powerful. Your job as civic technologists isn't to be the heroes of the stories we stumble into halfway through. It's to understand the support people who have already been in the places doing the work and who want to use tech to make improvements. Community is a powerful thing. Definitely community is a powerful thing. I think talking about community, please do consider joining us at the Do Better UX design community over on LinkedIn. You can just search Do Better UX on LinkedIn and you'll be able to find our group where you can find other people who are interested in product design and some of the things that we share here on the platform. Design should be about the community. Definitely design should be about the people that you're designing for, never for stakeholders or for business needs only. The only certainty is change. Definitely change will always be there. It's certain that change will be there. I think it's stupid for people to design products within certain contexts and think that they will actually not change over time. It's about time we learn how to fail. I think this is something that designers embrace. Fail fast. Is some of the ideologies I live by personally and practice with things like the design sprints, etc. We want to fail fast so that we can learn faster and be able to move faster as well. 2020 was tough. 2021 won't be easier. Might be slightly because we know what we're up against, but we can make it better. Definitely we can make it better with some of these things that we've been discussing here and some of the things that we've learned over the year 2020 that we've shared. A lot of people have started sharing a lot of information online around how to work at home with children, how to do different things. So I think there's definitely a huge case of community and helping each other, sort of like conquer the challenges that we have. So we can definitely make it better. Here on the page, they say everything that we see happening around us has been brewing for decades: climate change, public health crisis, and the escalation of violence against minorities that is in the US. To be specific, I think here as designers, what is our role in preventing or mitigating future crises? And as citizens, what can we do to start making things better? I think that is a powerful thing. This will be my next tweet. Lastly, the biggest lesson that we learned is that we are all in this together, and we need to work towards it to be able to actually conquer some of these things. So thank you so much to the folks over at UX Design Trends, uxdesign.cc, for providing us with this year's report in the form of lessons learned over 2021. This was my take on it, my almost review, first impressions, whatever you might call it. This was a really ad hoc session that we wanted to do because of the excitement of this thing coming out. But our official live stream is on Thursday. Please do join us if you are a UX designer or somebody who is getting into UX design. We'll be talking about if UX design is for you and if it's something that you might want to get into. We'll talk about some of the assumed traits like empathy and things like that we've seen in this report here. And really cover topics that will help you figure out if UX design is something that you want to get into in 2021. So having said that, I think this brings us to the last part of our show today, and I want to thank you if you have watched all the way until the end. If you do have any questions, comments around some of the things that I said on this live stream, please feel free to comment in the section below. Interact with us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Do join our design community, Do Better UX, on LinkedIn. You can just search that, and I think the links should be in the description below as well, so you can see them in there. Head over to our website if you'd like to learn more about UX design. If you are a UX designer or somebody who is getting into UX design, we have a lot of insights around how you can get into UX design, how you can kickstart your career into UX design rather, and we have a lot of insights around how you can take your career to the next level if you're already a UX designer. Maybe you're a junior UX designer, or maybe you're just a senior UX designer looking to learn new things and methods and ways of doing things. So having said that, it has been a really awesome one. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Varima Henry, and until we meet again on Thursday, peace.